All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into something you deal with every single second of your life, but it's still one of the biggest mysteries out there, your own perception of time.
I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That weird stopped clock illusion when you first look at a second hand? Or how a scary moment, a real crisis, can feel like it's all happening in slow motion.
Well, it turns out our brains don't have some single, steady clock ticking away. Nope. Our sense of time, and there's a cool word for this, scientists call it chronoception, it's totally subjective. It literally stretches and shrinks depending on what we're doing, what we're feeling, and where we put our attention.
So, how in the world does this elastic clock actually work? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at memory and attention, see how our emotions can totally warp our sense of time, and then, this is the best part, we'll figure out how you can become your own time bender.
Okay, first things first. We got to wrap our heads around the central mystery here. Our experience of time is not a constant. It's not fixed. It's something built entirely inside our own minds.
You know, the ancient Greeks were really onto something. They had two different words for time, and it's the perfect way to think about this. On one hand, you've got chronos. That's the objective, tick-tock, chronological time on your watch. But then you have kairos, and that's your personal, subjective experience of time. And let's be honest, those two things are almost never the same.
All right, let's get into our first big clue. And this one is huge. It's all about the deep, fundamental connection between your memory and your sense of time. So there's this really groundbreaking idea in neuroscience that says we should think about memory as a kind of perception. Think about it this way. Just like your vision perceives space, your memory perceives time. It's like your brain is mapping out the past in the same way your eyes map out the room you're in.
So how does the brain actually pull this off? Well, get this. Neuroscientists have found these incredible things they call time cells. And they're remarkable. They're these special neurons, mostly hanging out in the hippocampus, and they fire in a specific sequence while something is happening. They are literally creating a timeline, stamping each memory with a what and a when tag.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. The brain creates a temporal representation, a map of time. But just like your vision isn't perfect, right? Like stuff in your peripheral vision is kind of blurry. Well, your timeline is the same way. The further back an event is, the more compressed it gets in your brain. It feels fuzzier, less detailed. And that's exactly why you can remember what you had for breakfast today, but breakfast last Tuesday? Good luck.
Okay, on to our next clue. And for this one, we have to look at the powerful and kind of weirdly paradoxical role that attention plays in all this.
So one of the big theories here is called the attentional gate model. And you can just think of it like a biological stopwatch. Imagine your brain is creating this steady stream of ticks, like a metronome. Now, when you're super bored, just staring at the wall, your attentional gate is wide open. You're counting every single one of those ticks, and time just drags on. But when you're having fun, you're totally absorbed, that gate slams shut. You ignore the ticks, and bam, where did the time go?
And this brings us to the really wild paradox of routine. So in the moment, what scientists call prospective time, a boring, routine commute feels like it takes forever, right? That's because you have all this leftover attention to just watch the clock. But then when you look back on the week, that's retrospective time, that same commute feels like it vanished. It was so routine, your brain didn't bother making any new memories, so the whole thing just gets compressed into nothing.
All right, let's get to our final clue. This is where we see how intense emotions can come along and completely hijack our internal clock.
I want you to think about a moment of pure fear or stress, maybe a near miss in your car, or a sudden loud noise in the dark. Instantly, your body kicks into fight or flight mode. Your amygdala, that's your brain's alarm system, sends out a distress signal, and your body gets flooded with hormones. Your heart pounds, your senses sharpen, you are on high alert.
And in this state of high arousal, your brain processes information completely differently. It goes into overdrive. For instance, some research with people who have PTSD symptoms shows that when they see a word related to a threat, their brains process it so incredibly fast, so efficiently, that their attention is already free and recovered, ready for the next potential threat.
And here's the crucial point. That slow motion feeling you get during a crisis, it's not just in your head. I mean, it is, but it's not an illusion. It's a real side effect of your brain operating at maximum efficiency. It's processing so much more information every single second. It's like you're recording at a higher frame rate. So when you play it back, the whole event feels like it's unfolding in slow motion.
So there you have it. We've kinda cracked the case. Our perception of time isn't some simple ticking clock. It's a complex, beautiful construction, built from our memories, our attention, and our emotions. And the coolest part? Because it's something we construct, it means we can actually influence it.
So what does this all mean for you? How can you use this? Well, here are 3 ways you can start to bend time a little. First, if you want your life to feel longer and fuller when you look back on it, you gotta break your routine. Create new, rich memories. The more novel experiences, the longer your past will feel. Second, if you want to slow down time right now, in the moment, practice mindfulness. Focus all of your attention on the present. That forces that attentional gate open. And finally, you can reframe stress. Instead of seeing that fight or flight response as something to be afraid of, see it as your brain handing you a superpower to focus and perform at your absolute best.
So, here's the ultimate takeaway. Time isn't just something that happens to you, it's a story. A story that your brain tells itself every single moment. And now you understand the script. You know the main characters: memory, attention, and emotion. And that means you have way more say in that story than you ever thought. The only question left is, what story are you going to choose to live?